Long story short, we met post dinner, and so I was in that dinner. My mind was running 101 miles. Like, what is he? He wants to see me. He's the chairman. What's going on? So he said, "Look, I'm going straight to the point." I said, "Yeah." He says, "I need your help." I said, "Okay, help for what?" He says, "I need you to be in the team for the World Cup." So I said, "What, as manager?" He says, "No. I need you to play." So I was dumbfounded for that 1 minute because I haven't played international cricket from the last World Cup in '99. I mean, I would occasionally play some social or domestic cricket, just to enjoy it.
Welcome to another episode of Right Place, Right Time, the history podcast that captures epoch moments that have transformed Kenya's history. My name is Stephen Maika. If you're joining us for the first time, we'll urge you to take a pause, go back and capture the first conversation that we had about the greatest era of Kenyan cricket, which we've already done some 2 hours of recording, which we believe will be important for you to capture before you join this conversation. Now, one of the things about talking to a Rolls Royce of Kenyan sport is you find out that 2 hours is not enough to capture the greatest journey. So we are back again to continue with the conversation with the great Aasif Karim. Aasif, karibu sana.
Asante sana. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for, again, offering your time. Just downloading everything you have on you, on us, and everyone who's watching and everyone who will listen to this podcast. So that they can know the wonderful things that are happening in this country. Asante sana.
Welcome.
Good stuff. Now, if you, just as a reminder, the person we are having here is an amazing person, and I'm going to just read some of the highlights of who he is and what he's done. But I just want to assure all the listeners that we've bolted all the doors and all the windows. We are not letting him out until we get all the history of the greatest era of Kenyan cricket, the golden moments of Kenyan cricket. So, if you're seeing him for the first time, you're looking at a legend. Let me just give you some of the things he's done. He's a 43-time title winner in terms of tennis. 43 tennis titles. I don't think even the greatest tennis players in the world have done 43 titles. That's a lot. And this is from junior level all the way to senior level. From Coastal Open all the way to the Kenya Cup. Amazing stuff. He's also played cricket for over 23 years? Or 23 years representing the Kenyan national team. And we'll talk about all these things as we are continuing to this conversation. Last time when you were together, Aasif, we talked about your journey, which is so much intertwined with the Kenyan sporting journey, especially cricket and tennis, starting all the way from 1926, and we reached 1999. We talked about your journey from Mombasa, playing tennis, and cricket as well, your father, your grandfather, representing the nation in major tournaments. Probably we want to summarize some of the things that we talked about.
As I said, my grandfather migrated in 1926. That's going to be 100 years next year. So maybe a good time to celebrate 100 years of the Karim family in Kenya. Yeah. And as I said last time, a lot of the Indians who came from the subcontinent were looking for a greener pasture because the situation back in the subcontinent, especially in India, was very tough. And so people were migrating, looking for opportunities. So coming here and then, trying to put food on the table. And then you have here my grandfather encouraging his children to be playing sports. And one thing led to another, and that's why we're sitting here.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and so that's why I want to ask, to urge anyone who's joining the conversation from this particular point, you do yourself a favor. to just go back and listen to the almost 2 hours that we had a conversation. I mean, you will be amazed. You'll be amazed, and it will give you context of where we are going. Now, after we took the break, I realized that there's some 3 things. These are not the only things, but some 3 things that I felt we did not do those things, those particular topics justice, or those people justice. And so I just wanted to take you back and talk about 3 things which I feel are important to be mentioned. Number 1, we talked about your father, Aasif Karim, an amazing man, and how an amazing man he is. But I realized we did not talk about Nargis, your mother. Mothers are special. We always talk about fathers, but mothers also play an important journey. So tell us something about your mom. Your mom. Yeah.
Yes, my mom was born in 1937 in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, from a very royal family, Muhammad Abdullah Kimji, who was a well-known personality in Tanzania. My dad and my mom got married in 1960, and she came from a big city of Dar es Salaam to a small town and a very conservative town of Mombasa as far as the Indian culture and the Muslim culture was concerned. So a lot of adjustments had to be done. And in those days, people stayed together. There was, all the families, because it was economically also not affordable to be living separate, and there were many other cultural issues. But as time progressed, I would call her really the ladies in our home are the unsung heroes. Yes. For the success of our family. My grandmother, my mom, I'm sure later on we're going to speak about my wife, Nazling.
Yes.
I mean, they really have played a critical role to where we are today. And I think that support at home is so paramount that I think sometimes we have let it go. And I think the people who are listening, the families, I think the family support is you cannot beat it. For any successful person, whether in business or whether in sports or whether in any field that they do, you will see that the home element plays a very important role. Even when there is a successful lady or a woman, the husband's support is paramount. So what am I trying to say? As the family bonding and support and complementing one another is paramount for the success. And so my mom played a very significant role to where we are, because she then assisted as time progressed. She assisted my dad in the business. Well, she was running a canteen in the East African oil refinery in Mombasa. So where they had to, in those days, supply coffee in the morning, about 250, 300 cups. In the afternoon, similar cups of tea. Then lunch during the time. So it was a very intense, it's a huge organization, as you know, the refinery. But that actually took us to another level, because my dad had a sports shop. So they used to work together, complement one another, supported, and that enabled the family's success financially to grow, which enabled better things with time. And also gave us an opportunity then to go to America, which we spoke earlier about. Yes. So my mom played a very, very significant role. Wow. Sadly, we lost her last year.
Oh, last year?
Yeah, it was 10th of June. And incidentally, it was her wedding anniversary also. Oh. So may God rest her soul in peace. Oh, yes. But it's something that all of us, and even the community, appreciates the role that she had played.
Wow. Thank you so much. I mean, I felt that in most of these sport journeys where we can get carried away and talk about the father and forgetting that the mother is critical in this whole journey. I remember reading the picture book. There's a place where she was saying that she would make electrolytes, where she mixes salt with...
Absolutely, correct, yes.
So she understood, she was critical to this because she wanted you to be fit enough to recover the energy after the games.
Sure.
Wow, amazing. And they were not allowed in the clubs.
The culture, I said the culture then was so awkward, if I could use that word, when you think about it. But then that was the system then. I mean, even when my father is playing the tennis, she's watching from outside. I mean, it's just, it just can't. But that was the culture, because you would not have the ladies join in the man or to go and even watch your family play. But that was the culture then.
I'm just curious, because I can see you won some mixed doubles. They were allowing... How was that happening?
Yeah, it's a good question. But I think that helped, because my dad was quite open, liberal-minded, and with time, even my mom. And so they give us all these opportunities, and that is why a lot of that support, what you call intangible support that you don't see, helped in doing that. Because tennis, there was singles, there was boys or men's doubles, and then there was mixed doubles.
Yes.
So it was well supported. My dad also played a lot of mixed doubles, winning the tournament. So I think it just fell in place. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But it's a good point you brought up.
Yeah. So captured your mom. Now, last year during the NBA season, I'm sure you know LeBron James. So there was a big buzz because his son was joining the LA Lakers, and that would be the first time that the father and son in the NBA play together in the same team. But I found out that they were like 30 years behind, because 30 or 40 years behind, because your brother played with your father. And I realized that we need to talk about your brothers. So you have two brothers. Of course, you talk about Arif, and he played with your father. Probably you can mention Altaf as well.
Yes, my brother was also a very formidable sportsman. He played good level of and very high level of tennis. He was also on a tennis scholarship in America, played also very good cricket. But when he graduated and came back in 1985, he then decided to relocate again, looking for opportunities, and he moved to England after his marriage. But going back to playing against my father, I mean, it was a unique situation where my father won the first tournament when he was 16 in 1951. And then on his 25th victory in 1977, he plays his 16-year-old son. So he plays his 16-year-old son on the 25th tournament. He wins his 25th tournament. So it was I think another unique record, a unique episode. I mean, when would you think that here is a player winning his first tournament and 16, winning his 25th tournament and playing his own son in the 16th. So it was special.
Did they speak in the evening for the game?
No, they must have, of course. It's been a long time, but obviously there must have been some trying moments for both, because, here is your father and here you want to win. It's a normal young teenager wanting to make his mark, but then experience took over.
Okay, that's good. So Arif played tennis. After some time, he pursued personal businesses.
Yeah, when he moved to England now, when you migrate again, you're trying to put your family back together. So he did continue playing there, but it was not as he could have played here. So I sometimes believe that if he was here at that time, maybe both of us could have played together. For the country, both in tennis and cricket together. So unfortunately he missed out, but he played good level, and he still trying to keep himself fit. My younger brother, who now lives in Orlando, Florida, since I think 89, 90, when he went to study, and he was more of a social player. He was not as competitive or as much as we were, but he was what I call the journalist of the house. So when you came back on Sunday, he would be your commentator, giving you the happenings of the day, and he would give you all the insights of behind the stuff, but he's still quite active. He still plays a lot of tennis in Orlando, and so he keeps himself going.
All right, that's good. When we were discussing towards the end of the last episode, we're talking about coming from the Cricket World Cup in India, and then announcing that you're going to retire, you mentioned that, as you were talking, you mentioned your wife being concerned about your health at that particular time when you're retiring. And it hit me. We did not talk about her. We did not talk about Nazneen, how you met her, when did you meet her, at what point in your life did you meet her. We always love this wonderful romance story. So probably we would love to know how, if you don't mind, how you met Nazneen and a part of the journey.
Yeah, she was on a visit to Kenya in 1986. Remember, I think I'd mentioned they had been refugees from Uganda in 1972 when Idi Amin expelled all the Indians. So they had moved to Europe, first went to Malta, then went to Norway. They were totally displaced all over. And then, of course, her elder sister, who is a lawyer, played a very significant role in putting the family together in England. So that was 1972, 73, 74. And then, of course, they settled down and they did fine. In 86, she was on a visit because her elder sister is married in Mombasa. So when she was here, and the culture then in the Indian was that the parents kind of do matchmaking and to see who can meet who and all that. So they're also from a very sporting family. Played all the sisters, the brothers played very active sports. And so they felt that, these two would be good if they met. So through my mom, a meeting was arranged for us. And when we met and we started chatting like we knew each other for years, so it was maybe love at first sight. And from there, one thing led to another. So that was 1986. So we go, and then in 1987, 28th of November, 1987 is when we got married in England. Yeah, and so again, if I have to talk about a young girl who is a dispensing optician in England, getting married in Kenya, in Mombasa, in a small town, it was a huge transformation for her to adjust and change. And it was, of course, a lot of strong will within her to adjust and get along with the culture, with the system, in a small town in Mombasa. But her full support to my sports career again played a very significant role, because remember, they had a young family. There was a lot of traveling to do, so somebody had to hold the fort at home, and also this little business to make sure that things were going very well. So that I again said that the women at home are very instrumental in a family's success. And I would again add her as the third lady in the Ahmed Karim family to have been the unsung hero of the family.
Wow. You mentioned being a history podcast. One of the things that we really want to discuss, one of the topics that we've set aside to discuss is the expulsion of the Asians from Uganda, because we feel the story has been told from the Ugandan side of the story, but we've always wanted to get the feel from the other side. In fact, I've already contacted a wonderful professor called Professor Mamdani. Professor Mamdani. He's a bit busy right now, but I really want to capture the story of the guys who left Uganda going all the way, because he's done a book on that. I can imagine for her leaving Uganda that particular time and then coming back to the region again. She wasn't, or she was okay coming back.
Well, there was a lot of apprehension when the parents, her parents, got to know about it, and because obviously there was a very terrible memory of what had happened. Now you're going back to Africa within the region. So obviously there was a lot of concern, there was a lot of debate, there was a lot of discussion. But I guess she was determined that she's going to marry somebody that she would be comfortable with.
Nazneen, if you're listening to this, you made a wonderful choice. You married a wonderful Wonderful, man.
And vice versa.
Yeah, thank you for the sacrifice. So did she come to practice ophthalmology?
No. She came and she believed immediately when she came back, she felt she could give societal service.
Okay.
So there was a lot of volunteer work that she does to date. She does a lot of charity work. She does a lot of work where she tries to empower the African women in terms of some business, education and all that. So she's quite content with what support and the social work that she's doing.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Now you remember, I mean, we know how the story ended, but you married her in 87. So now you've added a third ball. So you have tennis, you have cricket, and now you have a wife. But I'm sure you become a father very soon. And I think that was Fatima?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, when did Fatima?
Fatima was born incidentally, she was born on the same date as her mother.
Oh, okay.
24th November.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was born 2 years after our marriage, but the date of birth, the mother and the daughter share the same date, 24th November.
Yeah.
So that's my firstborn.
Yeah.
Then we have Irfan,
Yes.
who is the secondborn.
Yeah.
He was born on the 25th of September 1992. Then I have a daughter, Zainab, who was born on 28th of August 1997. And the last born, Imran, was born on 26th of August 2002. I hope I got my dates right.
I hope so, otherwise they'll kill you.
Otherwise I'll be in trouble.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is a history podcast and we're talking about the golden era of Kenyan cricket, but it's important that we capture some of these parts because they're very important to the journey. And thank you so much for sharing about your family. I really wanted, when I realized that we didn't talk about them, I said, no, we must have spare some minutes and just recognize them, and because they're part of this journey.
Well, I mean, Irfan now is the third generation.
Yes.
Who's playing at international level.
Wow.
Right now. So the book is called The Karim's A Sporting Dynasty.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So last time when we were having the conversation, we left it in 1999 after you have come from the World Cup in England. You are the captain. When you come back, I mean, and you feel, no, it's time for me to retire. Of course, you mentioned some of the issues that are happening at that particular time. So you give this presser. I remember watching the video of you giving this presser, and I remember Elias Makori asking, I mean, what's going to happen? I'm sure you said you actually felt sick at that particular time, but you had to do it. Probably could just relieve that moment before we proceed.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, as I was saying earlier, that when we came back from the '99 World Cup, we had just gotten into what I call a good position internationally, and the level at international is another ball game.
Yeah.
Whether in terms of leadership, whether in terms of the playing ability, and what is coming through. So when we finished the World Cup, we didn't win any matches. And the normal tendency is that if you don't win any matches, the manager is not good or the captain is not good. But that's not how one looks at it. We were coming from a very tough World Cup, in a very tough condition. But we played with a lot of dignity. We lost our matches in a very graceful manner. We made an impact. But of course, they were always behind the currents, not on that very moment, from behind. And like any situation, not many are happy with success. Sometimes your own people are not happy. They may pretend to be happy, but the energy can tell you that something is not correct. So when I got back, of course, I had already played 20 years for the country. I mean, that's 2 decades. That's a long time. Yeah. And it was not generating me any income.
Yeah.
It was something I was playing because of the passion. We were brought up that sports is played with a lot of passion then. And to play for your country is the highest. And then playing at the World Cup is even bigger. And then captaining your country at the World Cup, it cannot get anything better. So I had achieved all that comfortably. I felt good within myself in terms of the playing. But I knew in my heart that I needed to be there to continue to blend the team. As I was mentioning earlier, that we had a cocktail of characters and a cocktail of the system in our team. But the environment was not looking good. The system, you could feel there was a lot of toxic energy, there was a lot of bad energy. And you don't want to be part of those times. You want to be where, there was another choice of fighting the situation. I didn't need that. I think I reached a stage when you have played for your country for 2 decades, you must be given that freedom to say, how would you like to continue ahead, or what are your plans of exit, where you give what I call an honorable exit. Yeah. But the situation was not good, so I felt at that very stage that it's better I come out and gracefully, instead of going to antagonize and have a bad memory on all the 20 years that have been spent wonderfully for the country, and to have, from being a 28th, 30th country to reaching to the World Cup in the top 10. So I felt, of course there was a lot of mixed feelings. There were a lot of my supporters who felt it was not a correct decision. There were some people comfortable about it, some people played on the fence. So the whole situation was not healthy. But my gut feeling, which I lived on many issues, decided, let me do this. Okay. So that as much as it was very tough, I had to do it. Okay. So I did it. It was actually a relief post the conference, but it was a very tough moment. It was extremely tough. To be very honest, it was really tough, because you are giving up something that you have had it for 20 years. You have nurtured it. You've grown with it. You've made a useful contribution as a leader, as a player, as a colleague, and seen the wonderful journey. And then you're leaving with a little disappointment. So it was very tough, and it took a toll on me. In fact, I was under a lot of stress. I had a lot of back spasm, and so my wife was also not comfortable. After a few days, we had to go to the doctor and said, look, this is not good. So he says, what's going on? So obviously he didn't know. So I explained some of these things, and he realized what the problem was, that I was under a lot of stress. It has affected me mentally, emotionally. And so I had to, he gave me some medication and asked me to do a few things. So it took some time for me to come out of it. But it is something that has happened. I'm not the first athlete who has gone through that. And when I look at, historically, I even look at it now. Most of our sportsmen here, when they leave in a very miserable note. Fortunately for me, I was in business. So I was not struggling financially. I was doing some business, but you'll see most of our sports people, post the sports they do, they have nothing. And then there's depression, and then there is suicidal issues, and there are begging issues, and the whole dignity goes overnight. So I think that needs to be addressed correctly by all the associations, in how do you give your sportsmen an honorable exit. There must be a mechanism from the beginning, that when the time for retirement comes, this is how we need. And more than anything else, the experience that sportsman has, you need to take it back. Yes. You need to bring it back, either in terms of administration, in terms of coaching, in terms of mentoring, so many areas, but we don't do that. Once we get rid of the sportsman, it's like he's a nobody. Yeah.
Wow, that's some heavy stuff. Some very heavy stuff. Wow. And you've just, most of the time when we see some of these sportsmen who retire, when they wake up the next morning, they always wonder, what next? When it's good, you've mentioned something that I wanted to go there. You mentioned that you're already in business. I know your family was in business. Your father had a sports shop. Then you're running the canteen at refineries. Now, when did you start doing business? that at least was paying your bills as you're playing sports? And what business were you doing? What business did you start with?
I graduated in business administration insurance at Howard University in Washington, D.C. So I, as a young man, was always an entrepreneur. I always wanted to, because when I used to come back during the summer holidays, I would help my dad in the sports business, and was very keen in being innovative. So when I got back, I already had a job when I was a student there, because my professor said that, now what's your plan? You're graduating this year. So I said, no, I'm planning to go back home. I don't want to stay. He says, no, why don't you stay in the US? And I had job offers there, but I said, no, I'm keen to go back, A, because I want to be with my family, and B, to play for my country, and tennis and cricket, and remember, you're on 22, 23, you have a lot of energy. So because I had studied in insurance, my professor helped me get a job with Alico, American Life Insurance Company. It was Alico then, the building right next to Serena Hotel, which is now, I think, Liberty or something. So I said, all right, let me go back and get a few months of feel of how the industry works in Kenya, because I had no clue. I've done just theoretical. Practical is another ballgame. So I was brought to Nairobi for training for 3 months, and then, of course, it was for Mombasa because that's where I lived. So I worked for a few months as assistant general manager in Mombasa. In the general insurance, It was a small operation in Mombasa branch. It was a branch. Okay. But by December, I started in April, 3 months, July, August, and then December. By then I thought, I'm going to plunge in and start my own. So I resigned end of December. In January, I started a small agency called Al Karim Insurance Agents. Is how I started in 87 January. And helping my dad in the sport shop. So my office was in his sport shop, because you had to balance the finance, to make everything go well. So from there, I developed doing insurance, helping him in the business. In sports, I think we were the first ones. In those days, Reebok was a big name. It had just come in 88, 89. And we got the agency and we brought the shoes in the country as a sports shop. And we supplied to all the up countries, to Nairobi and all that stuff. So there were a lot of good things that I did with him in the shop, and then also developed my insurance. And then in 91, towards the end, I got an opportunity to move to Nairobi and started Aristocrats Insurance Brokers.
Okay. Why did you change? It's just...
that was an agency in Mombasa. Here I was coming to do business with another group. And we started in 92, and to date it's running now for almost 34, 35 years. Wow. In the business. So that business was growing, and as you know, insurance is not as easy as thing. I mean, you are in the business, so you are in insurance also. You are selling your trust, you are selling your word. That's true. You're not selling any tangible product. So the sports helped open the doors for me. The trust that I had built over the years helped. The networking helped. And one thing leads to another. In insurance, if you do a good job somewhere, somebody will refer you to others, and so that's how I developed. But within that insurance, it also gave me a lot of exposure to different people, because remember, you're dealing with a cross section of people in the insurance. And from there, I developed into taking some, what I would say, calculative risks, and got into some real estate business and other things. So I expanded using the insurance to other fields, and that's how I have grown. My name is Aasif Karim, and I am the chairman of Safina's foundation that organizes the Kenya International Sports Film Festival. We're going to have the 8th edition, this time from Mombasa Hybrid, where you can watch online on all our social media platforms. We receive well over 1,000 movies from over 100 countries. The jury will then select 40 to 50 top movies in sports, from short documentaries to long documentaries, animation and feature films. Reach out from the 16th to the 19th of October 2025. We look forward to seeing you in our festival. Sports unites people, sports movies inspire society. Thank you very much.
By the time you're reaching 1999, you have an insurance agency or brokerage, you're in the property business. So those are the two businesses that are running at that particular time.
Correct.
Very important question that I need to ask, because there are people who are listening to this podcast and they're probably into sports and probably employed somewhere as well, or running a business, but also have a passion for sport. You are able to juggle all these things because you are the best in terms of sport. You are the top tennis person, top cricketer, excelling in business, juggling 2 or 3 businesses. Speak to that person who is in this space where he wants to handle all these things. How do they go about it? Probably some 1 or 2 nuggets of balancing these two that can help someone who's...
Sure. I think that's a very good point for the young entrepreneurs. Yeah. And like anything else, the key thing is to know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But more important is discipline. Mm-hmm. Discipline is very, very important. And many times when we do something and some hurdles come in, we give up. Mm-hmm. Or we say, hey, itakuwa ngumu. And that's where you need to persevere. Mm-hmm. That's where you need to push it through. Take some help from people around you who are your well-wishers. Mm-hmm. Take some mentorship on how things are done. Mm-hmm. And like anything else, life, business, sports is like a marathon. It's not a 100-meter race.
Yes.
It's not that you've got to, it's a process. It's a process, that you build over the period and learn, read more, learn about, the reading, unfortunately, the reading culture has also reduced. Look at some inspirational books that you can read, and you will pick up some ideas from there. And it's a work in progress. How you talk to people, pick up the intelligence around you, be with the situation is very important.
Okay. Yeah. And big up to all the people who work for Aristocrat insurance brokers, because I can imagine you're starting this business, you're leaving your business to go maybe for a tour, cricket tour for 2 months, and your business is running, and it's running okay. That takes some huge trust, but also good structures. And I always say the business takes the nature of the person. So for business to thrive when you're away, it means it's taken your nature in a way that it's able to thrive even when you're away. Yeah.
Correct. It's a very good point. I mean, you said the key word called trust. Yeah. And in an organization, your colleagues, employees, staff, it's a team. It's like being on the cricket field. If you fall down, they also fall down. So in an organization, and you must empower your people to grow. And I always have the system that you're not guilty until proven. Yeah. Unlike our structure in Kenya, you are guilty until you prove yourself otherwise. So it's important as a leader to empower the people around. And you reminded me something else, that when I was on a tour, we had a structure and a system that in those days, there was what we call a fax machine. You remember the days of fax machine?
Yes.
It was not the WhatsApps and the emails.
When I joined the industry, it was now becoming extinct, but I used it 1 or 2 times.
Yeah, so I would daily get fax reports. And so and then in the evening I would be in the room, respond to those things and send back the message there, because there were no WhatsApp calls. It was expensive to make an STD call and all those stuff. So that's how the things were. And then I got a huge support from my team, and the confidence that the customers had. And obviously the customers were also feeling good because they're associating with an international sportsman. So they also feel, I know Aasif. So it was a 360 situation of the success.
Okay. Now I'm going to switch and take you to the other side. You're an employer, and because you've experienced this, you have this staff employee who's a good employee, but also has a passion maybe for sports, for acting. I don't know, in your organization, do you allow for them to experience what they love as they work as well? Or number 2, speak to employers who probably feel threatened when they want the employees probably of course, to work 100%, which is important, but also they have this passion, and how we can allow them to, your employees, just to thrive in whatever they do.
Again, very important point, and I think it is important that all the employers should support what you have just said by allowing people to grow, because one of the traits of a good leader is to empower the people around you. And how do you empower the people around you? By facilitating what can be done within reason to support of their hobbies, whether their needs. And I feel so good every time when I tell people that most of my staff are working with me for over 20, 25 years. Wow. So, and obviously the statement would be that, wow, you're a good employer. I said, no, it's a two-way street. I'm good, but they are equally good. And then we're working as a team. And so when you retain such staff, it's good for the organization, it gives credibility to the organization, and you understand one another. And it is very, very critical to say that we must empower our people to put them to another level. Okay. And that is the responsibility of the leader.
All right. That's good. Thank you for that. Now we've talked about the business, but remember this conversation was about cricket. So as you're running your business, you've stepped out of the national team scene, but the Kenyan cricket scene is still moving. So 99, so 2000, and probably if there's anything I'll miss, you let me know. There's an ICC Champions Trophy that comes to Kenya. That's like, we call it a mini World Cup. That's big. Was Kenya bidding for these tournaments, or was it ICC that was supporting Kenya? How are we getting these tournaments?
It was a combination of things. One, Kenya was already making a mark, by now for what we did, getting to the World Cup, getting our one-day international status, and our administrators then were very, very competent. They lobbied very well. And managed to get the Champions Trophy, which was a big deal. I mean, until that tournament, that was the biggest tournament held in Africa of any sport, international.
Okay.
So this was all the test playing teams to come to Kenya. I mean, it was unbelievable. Yeah. So it was a wonderful event, and all the matches were played at Nairobi Gymkhana. I mean, the cricket was buzzing. When you got the who's who of world cricket coming here, it can't get better. So it was a wonderful tournament.
Wow, okay. You didn't feel tempted?
Of course. In fact, there were some guys saying, then why didn't you make a comeback? I said, no, I've done my part. Let me be on the side. And I did some media work at that time.
Okay.
So I was doing the night show at Nation.
Okay.
It was a highlight show at night. It was a half an hour. So, and every evening I would get one of the special guests from the teams that had come to interview them and then go through the highlight matches. So it was a wonderful media experience for me. And during the match day, I used to do radio updates for Nation TV. Yeah, in the tournament.
Okay, that's great. That's good. At least you didn't walk away from it. No, you were still involved in the business, in the sports. If I'm not wrong, you started the magazine right about that time, with the Sports
Monthly.
Sports Monthly, yeah. When did how did you decide to do it, and how did you? I mean, tell us the story of Sports Monthly.
And this happened when we used to go on our trips on various places, and as you either came out of the airport and you saw a huge billboard of the people you are playing against. So, they made those players, their local players, larger than life. They made, it's an intimidation. Here is a young Kenyan team coming, you go out, you see the big posters, or you go into the hotel, you switch on your TV, you see your commercials of these people that you're playing against, you go to the bookshop, there are books written on them, there are magazines on it, and I'm asking myself, where is Kenya in this? We have no substantial magazine. We have no ads on our heroes. We have nothing. And we are equally good. I mean, historically, since independence or even pre-independence, I mean, we have won gold medals and Olympics and Commonwealth Games. The hockey team did very well. The cricket team has done very well. Football in those years also were competitive. But when you look at, it's nothing. So I said to myself that, okay, now that I am out of the playing field, I must give back something to the society, back. And obviously, one of the ideal things would have been to be in the admin, but it was in a mess, and I didn't want to associate myself to go through politics, because I remember I was played for 20 years, so I know what was going in and out and the whole thing and how I exited. So I said I would like to give by producing a sports magazine, and so I didn't know what I'm getting into. I mean, it was a huge challenge initially, but we managed to launch it in May 2000, and proudly to say that we have finished 25 years of publication, and we are still going strong. We are now fully digital. We have about 40 to 50,000 who get to see this magazine. We have a website, so the viewers can see on the website.
We'll put the link.
So we have all our past issues there. I also write a column. It's called The Last Word. I don't mix my words. For those who wish to read, can read my views on. It's called The Last Word. So 25 years, and we're getting strong. We have over 6,000 collection of sports photographs. We have digitalized it. We have cataloged it. And so we are in a good space there, and it would be good if there are people out there listening to this, because I also need to look at succession on that also. So whether it's the media house or anybody who feels passionate about that, then it's time we can have a conversation, because it is paramount that I would like to leave this as a legacy project for it to continue post I am.
And just as the name goes, it's a monthly issue.
Correct. Yes, it's monthly. I think we've published to date about 210 issues.
And who you get contribute? Do you have like people, contributors you've signed up to, or in terms of the articles?
Yes, we have an editor, we have a designer, we have a full team that is working on it, getting contributions from ghost writers, if you can call it. You get contributions from people who are interested, and so we managed to mix up. And one of the main purpose of that magazine was to capture 70 to 80% of content being Kenyan. Because we don't need internationally just to add the flavor, but we need to talk about our sports people. We need to talk about the controversies of our sports. We need to talk about our youngsters in sports, because that's how we grew. When our names used to come in the newspaper or our photographs, it was an inspiration. Now, when you look at our sports media coverage, with due respect to the media houses, it's appalling. It's appalling. It's an embarrassment. I mean, all they're doing is copy-paste. All they do is pick up a story of yesterday where it's outdated. So we thought, let's try and put up some Kenyan stories, so that awareness increases. And as I say, it's always a work in progress. We are not saying to Mefika, but it's work in progress, and we are growing, and we are open for ideas.
All right, that's good. That's good. So you're doing your business. You're publishing Sports Monthly. The Kenyan cricket scene is growing. I mean, it's moving on. And then if there's something else, please feel free to chime in. And then something happens heading towards 2002. I don't know, is it South Africa that won the bid for the World Cup, or did we go in as a team? How did Kenya get awarded?
The 2003 World Cup went as a team. So the main host would be South Africa, and supported by Zimbabwe and Kenya. So those were the three powerhouses in cricket in Africa. So it was time, because the World Cup was being played in different countries. Africa felt that we are now also ready. So obviously, as I said, Kenya was growing in stature, in every respect. So Kenyans were making a solid mark at international level. So, and Zimbabwe was also doing very well. And obviously South Africa had the bigger infrastructure. So South Africa was the lead, supported by Kenya and Tanzania to co-host the whole tournament.
I mean, to host a World Cup, and I think in the previous episode we said after the Football World Cup, after the Olympics and the Football World Cup, the Cricket World Cup is the biggest tournament. It means serious money, it needs commitment from government, it needs an association that knows what they're doing. So it seems at that particular time, for lack of a better word, these guys knew what they were doing, or was it for us to get such a tournament?
Absolutely. I mean, as I said earlier, for for Kenya's success on the field, the administrators then played a very important role. I mean, I'm saying the journey started in 81 when we got the ICC membership, and then as we started growing, the administration then were very, very able, competent, and were well placed at international level. Because that's important. You know, the lobbying is important, the network is important, and the administrators then had a lot of respect that commanded internationally.
And I may not double check this, but I think this was the first time Kenya was hosting, apart from the All African Games, which of course was Pan-African in '87. This was the first time Kenya was hosting what we call a World Cup.
The nearest would be the Champions Trophy, because you had all the, but the World Cup is a World Cup. Yes, definitely.
So this is big. So I mean, and that's why we're having this podcast about the golden era, because I mean, we hosted a World Cup. The people probably listening who don't know, we hosted a cricket World Cup, and we did, which is good. So we were, obviously South Africa will get majority of the matches, probably Zimbabwe will get, and then we got two?
We got two, yeah.
Two, okay, two. So obviously the team is growing. The guys you were playing with in '99, were all of them still playing at this particular time?
Most of them. And then, of course, some other youngsters came in also.
Okay. And so who was the captain after you?
Maurice Odumbe.
Yeah. Okay. And in '96 it was
Maurice. No, it was Maurice then, and then I took over in '97, and then he was brought back.
Okay. So they win this bid. So then, of course, they're playing. We are already one-day status, so you qualify automatically for the World Cup. Then you get this call. When did this call come, and who called you, and how did it all go?
Well, I remember the date. It was 16th of December. As you know by now, I'm good in dates.
Yes.
It was 16th December 2002, and I was doing my evening prayers, and the mobiles were active then.
Yes.
So the mobile rang, and my young daughter Zainab picked up the phone, and took the message. And so after the prayer says, there is an uncle called Aasif Karim wants to speak to you. He was a good friend of mine. He was the chairman of the Kenya selectors.
Okay.
And he was the chairman in '99 when I retired.
Yes.
And so since '99, of the way I exited, our communication had reduced. It became awkward for him. It became awkward for me because of the way the situation was. But he had guided me in '99 because he sensed the politics that was going even within their system. So as a friend also, he said, look, my advice to you is that you retire, and but it became a little acrimony. Anyway, so he called me. So I called him back, and he said, listen, I need to speak to you urgently. So I'm speaking to this guy after almost 2-3 years. I mean, what is so urgent? I said, what's the problem? He says, no, don't worry, I need us to meet, and then I will brief you. So for me, 101 things came in my mind, because he's calling me, it's urgent, is he in trouble, what's the issue, what can I do? He says, no, it's all okay. I said, no, I cannot meet you this evening, because I had an uncle friend from the US who was visiting, and we had planned for dinner. So I said, we can meet tomorrow. He says, no, let's meet after dinner. I'm like, so I get more worried, because now dinner is going to finish maybe around 10. And he said, doesn't matter, whatever time. Anyway, so long story short, we met post dinner, and so I was in that dinner. My mind was running 101 miles. Like, what is he? He wants to see me. He's the chairman. What's going on? So he said, look, I'm going straight to the point. I said, yeah. He says, I need your help. I said, okay, help for what? He says, I need you to be in the team for the World Cup. So I said, what, as manager? He says, no. I need you to play. So I was dumbfounded for that 1 minute, because I haven't played international cricket from the last World Cup in '99. I mean, I would occasionally play some social or domestic cricket, just to enjoy. And then he said, look, we have a lot of problems. Obviously, I'd heard about, because as I told you earlier, that playing at international level is one thing, leading at international level is another ball game, to blend the people, putting people together, getting the best out of everybody. So obviously I had seen it, as I said earlier, that my presence was required at the leadership level. So he says there are crises, there is mutiny in the team, there is so many accusations going on, and we need somebody like you. And if he wanted to massage my ego, he did it big time. Said we need a sober leader and we need somebody with experience and you command a lot of respect. And so he went on and on. So I didn't know what to answer. But my reactions were going fast. It was a good feel. Oh, see, so I proved myself right, going in my mind. Saying, am I heading to another problem? But it's a World Cup. Yeah. So, there was mixed feelings on the thing. So we chatted for close to 1.5 to 2 hours. It was midnight by the time we finished. So a lot of things were running in my mind. I said, look, I need to think about it. Give me about a week or so. It was in December. He says, you must be joking. I cannot give you 12 hours.
The tournament is in February. Yeah.
I'm saying like, I said, Aasif, you're putting me in a very awkward position. You called me on the 11th hour. You put all this to me, and I'm not going on a social trip. It's the World Cup. So I'm not expected just to sit. I'm expected to perform. I'm expected to add value in whatever role I was to play. He says, no, you do what needs to be done. Tomorrow at 10, I need an answer. We're meeting at the chairman's or meeting to formalize the matter. And I'm not expecting anything short of a yes, So it was a gun on my head, boom, So I go back home about 12:30, and so my wife, who's asleep, saying, what happened? I said, no, it was just, because I didn't want to discuss at that stage. So I said, no, everything is fine. It was just a normal discussion. We'll speak in the morning. Now, I can't sleep, obviously, because my adrenaline is running. There are 101 questions in my mind. What do I do? Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I know? Anyway, so morning breakfast, she says, so what happened? So then I narrate her the story. And her immediate reactions, do you want to go into a problem? So I said, you're right, but now this is the World Cup. The nation needs me. The country needs me. Remember, I also need to clear 99 because that was also a bothering. It was incomplete. So there were many things that were baffling around. So she says, anyway, you make the decision. And if you feel that, fine. But I'm a little skeptical about it. I said, I hear you. I hear you.
Thank you, Nazneen.
Yeah. I hear you. Yes, skeptical because, of course, she doesn't want me to go through what I went, the trauma. So we meet at 10. And I confirmed my availability. Now, there was the coach there. There were all the big guns of the association. So we meet the hierarchy and all that, and then we go from there. So obviously, when I committed, mentally, emotionally, physically, I was determined to be ready. I had about 6 weeks. So obviously, there was a lot of anxiety among the team. Because they are now seeing this formidable character coming back, but some of them were relieved because there was too much of infights going on and they expected me to sober up the situation. So initially there was a Christmas break. We started in January, and so the first meeting, there was already acrimony, and I had to spend almost 2 hours talking to the team to diffuse whatever was happening. Yes, it was not easy for me also, because I'm now seeing some of these players after a very long time. I'm making a presence. I was what I would say a formidable or a strong character in the team. So I was a threat to some people, but many were relieved. Some of the players were relieved that they knew that I would balance. But the administration had 100% backing for me this time, from the coach to the management to everything. So I managed to diffuse the situation, and we went into training. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned something there. The selection committee, of course.
You mentioned the role of a captain. You're saying, because I normally see in cricket, the coach stays, I don't know what to call it, stays up there. And the captain is in the field.
On the field, yeah.
With the team. So all the calls that the captain makes, say, at game time, can they do that without consulting the coach? So, for example, in terms of, deciding we are bowling fast or we are batting fast, or things like how you set up the team in terms of you're bringing guys. You're bringing the spinner and then guys, however they come near to. I don't know how to call it. I'm not a cricket.
What happens is before the match. A day or two before, there's already a team meeting, so some strategies are discussed on what we're going to do, what we're not going to do, who's going to do what, and all that. But once the team goes on the field, the person in command is the captain.
Okay.
So he makes all the decisions. Obviously, sometimes if he needs any help, he may ask for a signal, or the coach may give a signal. But the buck stops with the captain,
including the batting order.
Everything. The buck stops with the captain. He is in charge. He is the commander in chief on the game.
Right.
But the biggest role in cricket is not on the field.
It's off.
It's off the field because there are so many things happening behind the scene during training. Personal issues, bonding the team, politics in the team, ego issues in the team, differences of views. So that's where the captain also plays a very, very important role behind the scene, because when you get the result on the field, it's not there. The work preparation is behind. So the captain's role is very important to blend the team together, to strategize the thing together with the coach and execute the plan on the field.
All right, that's fine. So that's where they needed you to come back, because all that was not happening at that particular
Well, there were a lot of accusations on match fixing that had started being talked about.
Yes.
There was a lot of acrimony on tribal lines.
Yeah.
There were many issues on egos, and there were many issues regarding money that they were demanding from the association, which the association didn't have. There was mutiny being talked about, that Kenya will not participate in the World Cup. And, there were so many issues that they had that in one sense the association reluctantly called me, because they were the same guys who wanted me to exit in 99 are the same guys who brought me back. But the cause was greater than personal issue, and so it was necessary for me to be there. I'm happy that I made the decision with the support of my family, and that's how we moved ahead.